Hello. Welcome to Clean Greens Living live, broadcasted on Rainier Avenue Radio. It is your host, Queen Bree, in the house. My co-host is here today. Where are you, Christina? Hey, Christina. Can you hear us? All right. So, we are going to get started with the land acknowledgement, and then we are going to go from there. We acknowledge the land that we are on, the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the coast, the Salish, past, present, and we honor with gratitude the land itself, the Duwamish, Suquamish, Nisqually, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot tribes. We also acknowledge what has happened on this land to our African American people due to redlining and systemic oppressive mechanisms that have stopped our Black people from passing down generational wealth. If you are one of those families that have been affected by redlining in the Seattle area, please contact www.blackdollardaystaskforce.org or visit us at cleangreensfarmmarket.com and let us know, share your story. We are looking to collect stories from all the families in the Seattle area that has been affected by that. Seattle Black Dollar Days Task Force is still working with reparations and working on how do we as a community build Black wealth for our families and pass it down. All right, let's move on to announcements. All right, we are still in the process of registering our kids for our youth program. So, age 5 to 18. Can you please, and they're interested in learning how to garden and farm, please have them contact us at Clean Greens Farm. Clean Greens Farm. I can't even think of my email. Clean Greens Farm Market. No, Black Dollar Clean Greens at gmail.com. Thanks, Daniel. I'm like, what is my email? um, oh my God, you guys, we are almost close to starting our urban garden at Amy Yee. We have 2 more work days. This past weekend went good. Daniel, I forgot to send you some pictures. Shame on me. I'm gonna send you pictures throughout this week coming up of the work that we're doing out there. We have 2 more work dates on the 15th and Earth Day. Do you guys celebrate Earth Day? If not, you should start celebrating Earth Day. Getting with your local community like Clean Greens and celebrating Earth Day and learning what it means to take care of your earth and focus on the earth for a day. We are doing a big planting session for Earth Day. You'll come and you'll learn about the new garden we're doing. You'll learn more about our youth program. You'll do a little planting. There will be a little nosh there. For those of you who don't know what nosh is, there'll be some food there. And we just want to celebrate the earth, celebrate us opening up a new spot. We're so excited about it. Rainier Avenue Radio is also doing a large Earth Week celebration next week. Earth Week. Look at that. Earth deserves more than a day. Yes, it does. Y'all, we need to make sure that we are being productive and doing what we can to save our earth. So, Rainier Avenue Radio is doing Earth Week next week, and we are doing something on the 22nd. So, April 17th to 21st, be checking in with Rainier Avenue Radio, and April 22nd, be with us at the Amy Yee Garden Center. Check out our Instagram and you'll see all the information that is coming up. Our CSAs are live in effect. We have sign up times. You guys are interested in being a CSA. This year we are giving out, we have 3 options. Single options for families who are like size 1 to 2 people. That's $240 for a single size, 480 that feeds a family of 2 to 3, and a large that feeds a family of 4 to 6 for 640. You guys, those are really good price. This is the price you pay for the whole season, not every month, but for the whole season for 16 weeks. This is the price for 16 weeks. And on top of you buying a CSA with Clean Greens, also help give back to our community. So for families who can't afford to buy produce up front or who cannot afford to buy fresh organic produce, they get a share for free. So when you buy a produce when you buy a CSA for you, you help feed your family. Um, we want to put this in your ear early. Our grand opening, our season open is going to be July 1st. July 1st. We are planning our season opening for Clean Greens, which means we are having a live and effect block party. We are planning to have it at our Amy Yee Garden Center so that we can be having fun and breaking bread with our new community. And you'll be doing more work. Well, you don't have to, but it'll be fun if you want to do some more planting and just being a part of our new Clean Greens area. So please save the date for July 1st. July 1st. Yes. All right.
Yes, I literally posted, Bree. I said you can come and stand around and look pretty if you want.
Yeah.
So you can confirm that's okay to do too.
Yeah, for the grand opening.
Yes.
Yes, come around, be pretty, and dance, 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 dance. We'll have a DJ, dance, dance, dance. Yeah, I think we should do like a. No, let me not because I don't. I be when I have to dance with other people, I be so uncoordinated. But y'all can do a line dance. We'll learn a line dance, and y'all do it, and I'll sit back and be pretty. All right, let's head on to our guest. I'm so excited to have Allison Bachner on. She is from Noxious. She's a noxious weed specialist from King County Noxious Weed Control Program. So, everyone, please welcome on Allison Bachner. Hi, Allison.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. We haven't met yet. I am. I am so excited to have you on the show because I want to know more about weeds. So I am new to farming, and so I'm learning all about the weeds. And then I hear you are a noxious weed specialist. So can you tell us about your program and how you got started in it?
Yeah. Right. So I work for King County for their noxious weed control program. And in Washington State, we like regulate weed species. And so noxious weeds are like the name for those listed weed species. It doesn't include like all non-native or like introduced weeds by any means, but they're listed because of their impacts to agriculture, to human health, and to like our natural spaces, forest understories, the like health of our native plants and wildlife and things like that. And so the state and like local and county have weed boards, and people from the public can propose weeds and make comments if they think it has a negative impact in their communities and like need help or want that as sort of like leverage to help in controlling that work and like protecting the health of our environments. And so for King County, this program I think really became a larger piece of it in the 90s. And for my job, I survey and coordinate the control work with all landowners from in Seattle, north of I-90, through Shoreline, Lake Forest Park, Kenmore, Bothell, and Woodinville. And every area within King County has, there's 8 of us, a noxious weed specialist. And so we work with with cities and municipalities, and we work with private landowners and are a resource for folks in managing some of these species that can impact our communities.
Do they have to pay? When you say landowners, you mean folks who own their own home?
Yes. Yeah. So, like, by law, the responsibility is on landowners. Not all weeds are like required for control, but there is a list of ones that are. So that responsibility is on landowners. And I communicate with those landowners, but I also do like door knocking on private people's properties, right? And tell them, educate folks about these weeds and offer sometimes my own assistance in controlling infestations or just guidance on how they can manage that land.
Nice. So, okay, I guess I have a few questions. Okay, no, I'm getting okay. So you go and you knock on you knock on the door and you let them know, because some owners, they don't know that they have it. So how do people find out about this? Like, how do people know that this program even exists?
Well, okay, so I've told you about our like regional noxious weed specialists, but we do have an outreach and education program too. And so those people on our team will do, and including myself and other specialists will do like tabling events in the community. We have like free online spring webinar series where you can learn about weeds. So that will be coming up in May. Generally, like, we'll find some people will like email us and report weeds to us. The majority of my work is in our like parks and public spaces or roads along our roads. And so people see them, they worry about them, and they let us know. Or sometimes we'll like send letters, or they'll just meet me at their door, and I'll be like, I'm about to tell you something weird.
So you just knock on the door and they're like, hi. And you're like, have some noxious weeds you need to take care of.
Yeah. And where I can't, like I am uniquely paid to do this work. And so where I have capacity, I'm like digging out plants sometimes with property owners or with like renters who are just like, I want to put a pause in my working from home and let's like come out in the garden with you.
Nice.
And so I do a lot of control myself. And I actually met Christina through a fence line controlling a plant called poison hemlock in on a City of Seattle piece of property off a road.
So how do people, if people, because until they see the show or until they see the outreach that you guys do, what are some of the things that people can look out for to know if they have those noxious weeds?
Great question. I mean, I think the piece that I love about my job, and the piece that like I want everyone to feel too in this work, is that like the health of our communities, our environments are like in our own hands, and that we have like the resources and skills to make observations in our backyards and then to do something about it too. And so I think plant ID can be like sort of intimidating, and there's a lot of species out there that I can't even claim to know all of them. I'll tell you that, which is humbling and like part of the fun too. And so there are resources online, like our website has all of our weed species, and you can go through them and look at them by photo. There are really helpful like applications that you can use too. The first step is always identifying. And so like there's an app called iNaturalist that people can just take photos and upload them. They'll help you identify plants. And our program too, like I'll go in there and I'll research, poison hemlock and see if any members of the public are like identifying them in new locations. And so there's that. And then I think like a lot of these species, not the ones that we require for control, are species that people have grown up with and have like, we've lived in community with them for a very long time, longer than I've been in Washington, longer than I've been alive to some extent.
Yeah.
Blackberry or ivy and things like that. So people know about these plants, and it's not necessarily that they're bad plants, it's that we recognize that maybe they have an upper hand in this world that humans have built, in our systems, there's often winners and losers. And as we all know, and so like some of these species don't have, they're not from this range. They might not have predators, or like little insects that help control them, or diseases and things like that to keep them in balance. And so they can just like take over some of our and outcompete some of our other species. And so, maybe our pollinators don't have the right food that they need throughout their full, life and season, because there's only like blackberry on a site and it only flowers like a couple of months a year, And so I hope that's helpful. But beyond that too, so like use our website, use these like nature apps that can really help you get to know our like green neighbors, and then like we're a resource. Like I give out my contact. Our program has like an open line, and people will email us questions. Can email me photos of plants and be like, "What is this? Should I be concerned?" Like something like that. And but yeah, so there's like a lot of resources out there, and like I'm like day to day going around in the spring and summer, like our communities, and talking to people on the street. And I want to spread the word, and I want people to feel like they have a piece in it and have every ability to help out.
Nice.
And I hope I'm answering your questions. I've always been sort of long-winded.
No, what you're doing is perfect. If you're just tuning in, you're tuning into Clean Greens Living Live, broadcasted on Rainier Avenue Radio. I am your host, Bree, and we have our other host, Christina, and our guest, Allison Bachner, in talking about noxious weeds. You are answering my questions. We were so excited to have you, and I know Christina has some questions. So look, I was like, let me just draw back a little bit, let her get her questions in, because I was just so excited because I'm trying to learn more and more about weeds. So it did make me feel better when you were like, I can't even identify all the weeds. So that made me feel a little bit better about not knowing too much.
Totally. And we like all have our lane, it's just like there's so many like ornamental plants in our.
Uh-oh, we lost Allison. Are you there? Well, until we get Allison back on, let me remind you guys, April 15th, April 22nd, we will be having work days at our Amy Yee Garden that is on 38th Holgate, South Holgate, 38 South Holgate. There she goes. Hi, Allison. Can you hear us? Nope. Okay. So yes. So join us for Earth Day on April 22nd at the Amy Garden. There we go. Hey, Allison.
Hi.
Okay, we got you.
Sorry, I cut out.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, this is the day of the internet. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of internet's been more flaking out. Okay, Christina, what were the questions you had for Allison?
Okay, I am particularly wondering about like your best friend or worst enemy among noxious weeds, however you want to frame that. And then I'm kind of interested in, like, you touched on it a little, like you said, these weeds or, these species of plants have been around longer than us. Do you know any other like science-y history? It's kind of interesting.
Yes. Okay. Well, my favorite and least favorite weeds. I get that question a lot, and I feel like, and like my job is to like spread the word about like often negative impacts of plants. And admittedly, they come back year after year. Like it can be a full-time job and like super intimidating, and like a lot of work, on the ground, like digging up, using shovels. And so, that can get to you on a bad day sometimes. But I don't know. I feel like this like intimate connection. It's like, yes, we can talk about their negative impacts. But like the art of controlling it and like being in relationship to them, like I really love a lot of those plants I work with. And so I know that's like kind of a cop out, there are moments where in like English ivy, I'm just like, leave those trees alone. And then like pulling it can give you like a carpal tunnel moment for sure. Um, but uh, but but I have a lot of plants that I love. I do like poison hemlock. Um, it's like it's a toxic plant, um, but like it can be handled safely, and it grows up to like 8 feet tall. It's this like beautiful carrot with these purple blotchy stems, and it spreads very successfully in like sunny roadsides and things like that. But like ultimately, like some of the plants I work with are like super incredible, um, and you know they put in good work to exist out here. So it's hard to I feel like I just have to honor them and what they're good at, and come at them with the same strength and importance of work. Um, and then the other question was, now I'm forgetting. Oh, right, that like some of these plants have been here longer than us. Right, so like I mean, the term weed, first and foremost, like it's a human construct, and and then like the term noxious weed is sort of like our legal term for it in this state. But you know, particularly, you know, I work in the city of Seattle, and green space and parks and trees and things like that, they're a commodity here. Like they're fighting for space, right? And they're really important to people here. And so ultimately, even a forest system with lots of these, you know, listed weed species still has so much value. And these species have been right like in our communities and used for a really long time. And then like where they're from too, even more so, right? Um, they have human beings and other species that have lived in relationship with them, and have utilized some of them. And some of them are here because, right, like the plant called garlic mustard, which we have a lot of in Seattle. And it's like its big time of year right now, so it's going to be starting to flower this month. Um, and but it was, you know, it was brought over because it's edible, and it's like this like culinary garlicky mustard species, right? You can make a pesto out of it. But it also spreads really successfully in our forest understories and outcompetes like more diverse like native plant species. And so look, yay, garlic mustard. Thank you. My photo in the intro is me like popping through some garlic mustard too. It is
Thank you for that, Bree. Haven't you seen that, Breon?
I didn't do that. That's Daniel. He's working his magic.
Oh, yeah, I've
Not
seen
that great.
that. Now I know what it is. Thank you.
yeah, but we have it here like in it's in like Leshai Park, it's in Interlochen Park, and uh and right like it's an edible species,
Have
but
you tried it, Allison?
I have
Did
tried
you?
it, and
Yeah.
I've tried it. I mean, sometimes I'll just like grab and snack on a leaf. Admittedly, I'm not as much found in the kitchen, but I definitely tell like some of my landowners or people who ask me about it. I give them information. I'm like, it's edible. Like, please don't spread it. But if you want to eat it, go for it. And I've had people send me photos of like a pesto they've made, and like a pasta the very night I told them about it. So, and like I appreciate that. Like I think we should have nuanced views of these species, because like they're not our enemy. They're not the root cause of like our environmental or like human you know, like problems and issues, but they're like one tangible way that, if we control them in our backyards, in our parks, it's a tangible way that we can like show our alliance with our community and like with our green spaces and like forests, and that they're, you know, in a city, it's like we want to make room for as much life as possible.
Okay, I have a question. So on your website, which can you say what your website is? But before you do, on your website, you let people know what the weeds are. Do you
Hmm.
guys say that? Do you tell the benefits of the weeds? Like, so for the weed you were just talking about, the garlic weed, do you say this is a weed and this is what to look out for, but it also has these benefits?
That's a really great question, and I think that like there's likely some comments about benefits of these weeds in some of our content. It can be a little bit buried behind the like, this is the boogeyman a little bit. But it's like, it's a shift that we really want to like make in the culture and language of this work. Because we don't need to be building enemies that aren't there, right? And admittedly, like these species and the places that they are being used, right? They're like sometimes being used by people in our communities who know about their how that they're edible, and then they're used by other species too. Um, there is some of the science is like more like individual species by species. There's like never enough money for like research and continuing to like understand the really like intricate connections that between species and what sort of healthy spaces look like. But there is right, but there's plenty of research around like biodiversity and how essential it is in our communities, and like how essential it is to resilience, and then how these some of these individual species like work to sometimes undermine that, though not intentionally, right? And so how can we both like honor them as a species and honor what they bring, and honor them as like a neighbor on our like global home, and as well as like best steward our green spaces too.
Nice. Okay, so we're running out of time. We ran out of time. Thank you for coming. Can you let us know where anyone can go and sign up for the webinars?
Yes. So our Noxious Weed website is. I should be better at this. I
I
mean, you
can
could
never
honestly.
remember my email address this just a second ago. So no judgment here.
Well,
Black
you
Dollar Clean Greens at gmail.com.
well, you could honestly, Google King County noxious weeds, and our page will come up.
I think I have it. It's www.kingcounty.gov/weeds.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. And
You're
then
welcome.
also we do have an Instagram that I think is like super fun and engaging. And it's just King County Weeds. And so you can learn about like the weeds that are hot this season as they are popping up and flowering, and techniques to control them. So that's a super useful resource, and there's videos and background information. So
Yeah, that is helpful, especially for those who are learning about gardening and who want to know more about weeds. So please check out our Instagram, King County Weeds, or check out www.kingcounty.gov/weeds to learn more about weeds and how you can take care of the weeds in your garden. But before you throw them out, make sure you look it up and see if there's benefits to it. Because I know dandelion is what we considered a noxious weed, right? But
well, dandelions are not a noxious weed, actually.
oh, okay.
But yes, eat them up.
Well, that's good to know. All right, our time is up. I wish we could have talked more about that. Thank you, Allison, for coming
Thank
on.
you, Allison.
Be more.
Yes,
We'll be harassing you a little bit more like this couple of coming weeks. Thank you so much.
please. Thank you so much. Like, reach out whenever. This was an
Okay.
honor.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.